not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And CJ doesn't have the mic on again.
As usual. Well, I hate these last minute,
it's gonna be become a regular
problems.
occurrence.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Well, the breaking news story this morning was about Matt Lauer. NBC News fires Today anchor Matt Lauer after sexual misconduct review. I have the original release and I have the second release. The second release has a little more information. But NBC News chairman Andrew Lack said in a memo to employees that the complaint, which was made by a colleague of Lauer's, prompted a serious review and represented a clear violation of our company standards. Lack said it was the first complaint lodged against Lauer, who's 59, for his behavior since he took over as anchor of the show in 1997. But there was reason to believe, quote unquote, it wasn't an isolated incident. Our biggest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender, Lack said. This morning on the Today program, Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb served as the co-anchors this morning, and both of them appeared highly upset about this. For people who don't remember, Matt Lauer also used to work here in the Providence market at WJAR on a magazine program called PM Magazine, and he worked with the late Sheila Martinez, also known as Sheila Martinez-Pina, who was married to a Bristol County DA for a period of time before she passed away. So let's see, we've got Fox now, CBS, and NBC. We've got to wait for ABC to come out with somebody.
Well, they are quick to get the knee-jerk reactions now. I mean, if there's even a hint of anything, it's like, that's it. Regardless if it happened 50 years ago, you can beat a bank robbery rap if the statutes of limitations passes, but there's no way you're beating this. This is, again, it's all about perception and I mean, even the statement's kind of a contradiction if you look at, And I watched it live this morning when she said that, they ran of her saying it, because they feel bad for Lauer. But they're also, she gives the brave person who came forward with it and all this,
Right.
They're getting braver and braver because, and the thing that disturbs me, look, okay, if something happened, I have a question of why I didn't bring it up in the first place, and I know they're going to say they can't, they were afraid, people are too powerful. Well, this is what makes, somebody has to be the first one to pick up the torch. If, as Martin Luther King once said, a wrong to one person is a wrong to everybody. You can't disrespect people, one person. And if you allow it to happen to you and then come up 30 years later, that's the thing that kind of bothers me. It's like they waited until they were rich and famous and then came forward. They didn't do it when they were, and that's the problem. And I've heard it before, not only on that level, on other levels. I've talked to people who wanted to file, complaints against their employer and things like that, and then I'd explain how to do it, and then they'd say, oh, I can't do it. They're too powerful. They've got too much money. They know all the people in the town or the city. It's never going to go anywhere. And they basically talk themselves out of doing it. And that's the problem, because guess what? When you do that, it allows this stuff to continue. We look at this now, and apparently, and all these things are allegations. They are allegations. Let's make that perfectly clear. For the most part, they're allegations. But the thing is, some of these things took place over a 20 and 30 year period. And why did they take place over a 20 and 30 year period? Because no one had the courage to come forward. Now everybody's getting the courage. So it's kind of, to me, it's a little too late. You should have come forward and taken the hit You know, I've seen a lot of people come forward and go through a lot of very, very difficult times because they had the courage to come forward against large corporations, against entities, against cities, and fight the good fight. And that's the thing that kind of gets me about this whole situation, that, you know, starting to file complaints 30 years after the fact, a lot easier to file a complaint when you're a multimillionaire and than it is when you, but the fact is, remember that old movie, was it Norma Ray?
Yes.
When she stood up in the mill,
yep, and
created, and maybe it's my background in labor, but there's the book that one of my favorite books, which I always quote from, The Untold Story of Labor, is a great book. It's an older book now. You can probably get it at the library. Very well worth reading. It talks about the little people who didn't wait 30 years, and some of the people that were literally murdered for attempting to create labor unions to protect workers when workers were being abused, chained to machines. Those people didn't wait 30 years. They couldn't wait. They stood up and they took it, and some of them died for it. And that movie always reminds me of that stuff. And there was that other movie about the mining, I think, up in with the Cherise, that girl. I can't. But it was another labor issue with women working in a male-dominated and being abused. But they made a few movies. But those people, you know, can't, you know, stepped forward. And what really like bothers me now is that, you know, realistically, if you look at it, the people who started this, who were bringing up things that happened 30 years ago, they have to look in the mirror and remember that everything that happened between when they were victimized and what happened now is partially their fault, because they didn't have the courage then to step forward. So that's at least my opinion. So it's not a fact, but it's my opinion. My opinion is you think there's something wrong, go fight it.
Hey, I agree. And again, all these complaints are all coming out all at the same time. So, and you also look at our administration here in the city. They have a sexual harassment suit filed against a former city employee.
Yes.
Okay, the mayor's chief of staff has a sexual harassment suit filed against him. So this administration has it too. Nobody seems to be immune to these type of allegations. So
yeah, and it's, you know, it's a pretty low bar now.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the problem. The problem we have is, you know, it's a double-edged sword. We don't want to see these things go on in the workplace. They're wrong. They're wrong anywhere in society. You know, you shouldn't take advantage of people who are weaker than you or don't have the power and stuff. And, you know, it should be fair, but that's not a reality in real life.
Right.
We all know that. But the bar is set so low now because of this hashtag Me Too. Everybody can get, all you have to do is point a finger. You don't have to have, exactly, you don't have to have any, you know, all you got to do is say it happened, and in spite of the fact that in this society we are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, in this circumstance you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Because as soon as the finger is pointed, your life ends as you know it. Matt Lauer has been involved in the industry for decades. As you said, CJ, he started out around here. I remember when he worked around here.
Yep.
And as did Meredith Vieira.
That's
A lot of people don't know that Meredith Vieira actually worked for the cable news in Fall River, then went to a local channel, and then went national. And she's still national now. But you know,
I think she started in our little studios.
Yes, exactly. And you know, but the thing is that, like I said, it's just you're guilty until proven innocent. Even that crazy man down in Alabama that's running for Congress,
Ray Moore.
Yeah, Ray Moore. I mean, one of the people that now they've proven that one of the people who are alleging something was totally fabricated. So you know, there you go again. There are certain things that you know, unfortunately, even though you have a guarantee to be innocent and proven guilty, there are certain charges that you're guilty until proven innocent. And this is quickly evolving into this because,
you know, it's gotten to the point where you can't be in a room with anyone alone. You have to have multiple witnesses for everything you do. And that's really a crappy way to live.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and it's a very, very difficult bar, because, as I said, you know, realistically, the only thing you can do is say there's a zero tolerance for anything. Right. Because there are many workplaces, and I experienced that, where there's a lot of, you know, interaction, and you could say that sometimes it may border on something, it's perception, but they allow it, and then it becomes, it's no longer an objective evaluation without a zero tolerance, because then it becomes subjective. How much is too much? On a good day, could this be accepted? But if you take a half a step the other way, now all of a sudden you're having charges filed against you. And I had that discussion once with a psychologist that was talking about this stuff, and we had a good discussion on it, because you know, I basically said, you know, there are circumstances where workplaces that they're you know, jokes and maybe off-color jokes are allowed, but only to a certain point. And my position always was that they shouldn't be allowed at all, because zero tolerance is the only way to assure that you're setting a bar that's not movable. And in these circumstances, I think a lot of the bar is movable by the individual, which is wrong, because now it becomes subjective. It's like any given day, if I can walk in and set the conditions that you can talk to me and what you can say and what you can't, it makes for a very confusing workplace and a very stressful workplace.
I hear you. And, you know, it doesn't get any easier. So, this is the day after a Clowncil meeting.
Oh, God. Yeah, but did they bother even addressing the fact that they gave the taxpayers a tax increase? No, let's forget about it. Let's put that in the past.
That's right.
Just let the clowns pay their bills.
That's right.
Let them take their 2.5% increase plus the increase of the tax factor, and let them take their nice big water bills, and let them take all the fees, because we never stop trying to grab money. That's what we love to do. So the city council, the most important, as far as I'm concerned, as I said, this is my personal opinion, the most important thing that should have been discussed yesterday was the shift of the tax burden to the taxpayer. But who cares about the tax? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the fact that they lied about owner occupancy percentages. Nobody cares about the fact that business taxes are part of business expenses. Actually, I saw it on national TV. They were talking about a hospital that was closing an emergency room over in Rhode Island. They said, well, we have to do this for economic reasons. We have to pay salaries. We have to pay this. And we have to factor in our property taxes, because it wasn't a nonprofit. It was a profit-making hospital. Amazing. What did we say on this show a while back? What did we say on this show? That taxes are part of your business expenses? Not in Fall River, because Fall River has now become the Fall River socialist city of Massachusetts, because we've got Rob Mellion and people like Richard Cabaceres making you believe that the way to keep businesses in business is not have them not pay any taxes. Well, guess what? They're not going to stay in business in Fall River, because small businesses do not stay in business because they don't pay taxes. They need customers. That's right. And if you don't have any money to buy anything, they're going to go out of business. They're not and big companies, they just love it. They rape the system. They come in here and it's like a socialist. We're working to subsidize Amazon. And how many billions of dollars did Amazon make?
Well, did you hear what Amazon got in New Jersey?
What?
All the employee local taxes Amazon's allowed to keep. So the employees are working to fund their payroll.
Beautiful. I mean, look, I thought that we had, you know, everybody hates communism. Everybody hates it. Well, guess what?
That's what we are.
That's what we are. We've evolved. Big business has made it socialist when it benefits them. But when it's the profit, they go, oh, don't touch my profits.
That's right.
Don't touch my profits.
We live in a capitalistic economy.
And who has allowed it? The voters. of the entire nation, the state, and this city. And it's incredible that not one word was mentioned about the burden shifted to the people, the taxpayers.
Last night was a night to listen to yourself talk. The only thing that happened last night was Bobby Karam got his land, which I still say was illegal because they didn't meet the burdens of the charter. And then they had a resolution to enforce the charter, and they granted that a leave to withdraw because nobody wants to enforce the charter. And I got into an argument, well, a discussion with Augie Venice about this. He goes, well, you got to go file a lawsuit then. It should not be the responsibility of the people to file a lawsuit every time they don't do the job right, every time they violate the law.
Well, you know, we paid 40 grand for some clown to put this charter together, which nobody now wants. All these people that voted for it, now it's a mess. Every week, something else is coming in that the charter is interfering with. Now, Bobby Karam, as you said, and I agree with you, you know, that was in the form of a petition, and a petition is addressed in the charter. And the charter, according to the legal opinion given by the Corporation Council, which should be what we go by until overturned, since he's the legal, you know, the
mantra.
Well, you know, he's the legal representative for the city. He's saying the charter went into effect all except for, you know,
4-3.
4-3, and it went in upon passage. Well, guess what? That was a petition. It was in a form of a petition.
Yes.
Now, hey, if they went, well, we didn't really make them, because I saw the attorneys up there. They said this went back to 1921, and it was a, you know, and therefore, so what are we going to do? We're going to go back and we're going to reinstitute prohibition too? I mean, we're going to go back into the 20s. They went back and did a real research to say why this, and they may be 100% right. But to me, I believe that this, you were right. The charter applied because it was a petition, and they
That's
even
right.
said it was a petition. Now, I mean, the least they could do, rather than say, look, this is a dog and pony show for some rich guys who are going to get their way, and we don't care about the charter, and now we don't care about the charter at all because you gave it the enforcement a leave to withdraw. It's kind of like the purple bags. Let's just pass things that are supposed to be laws and then not enforce them just for the sake of doing it and maybe getting somebody a $40,000 paycheck for putting this piece of crap together. But, you know, the thing is, to me, at least the minimum that should have been done is they should have went before the council, asked to withdraw that petition and resubmit it in a form that wouldn't be applicable to a charter provision.
That's right. It should have been done as a request.
That's right, exactly. And then it would have been, nobody would have had a problem. But you know the problem that I have, and the problem that everybody in this city should have, is we can't have laws that are only applicable to the regular people. We can't have a charter that's waived for somebody, but if it's you, it doesn't get waived. We can't have this kind of, this is not government. You know, this is not government. You can't have, you know, laws that only apply, because now we've basically got a caste system. It's like India, it's like England, where the monarchs had a different set of laws. You know, the serfs had nothing. The lords of the manor could do anything they wanted to the serfs. So we've become the serfs. You know, I don't have a problem with them getting what they wanted, but, you know, if it's the law, it's the law, and you have to abide by it. They should have withdrawn it and put it in so it didn't apply, because the charter is there. It was passed. So what did they say last night? They're not going to enforce the charter, or only they're going to enforce the charter for specific instances, like if it's somebody they don't like. If they don't want you to get what you want, they will invoke the charter. If it's somebody they like, well, the charter is only just a, you know, a paperweight in the government center right now.
You know, we didn't have this problem with the old charter. There you go, Mike. Another screw up for you and your group of 8 nitwits. So, guess what? Giving Tuesday not catching on in Fall River.
What do they got to give? They're saving their money for the
there's
tax
nothing to
increases.
give.
They got nothing to give.
That's why
Isn't that what we just said about the economy?
That's right.
Yeah, reduce their tax rate a couple of $100 so they can put gas in their Mercedeses, and that's not going to save their business, because the people who are sitting at that council chamber don't do business in Fall River. Matook doesn't do much. They don't sell many $500 towels in Fall River.
No, they're sold in
I want to
New
know
York.
the last towel they sold to somebody living in a 3-decker in Fall River at $500 a towel. That's more than a month's wages for that person.
Yep.
So, you know, this
that's
is the
almost
key.
half their rent.
This is who they give the tax break to, who, by the way, that should be part of their operating expense.
Right.
As I said. But no, that's what's going to save our economy. You know, that's what's going to save our economy.
Well, for those of you who are looking for a job, Twin River is scheduling job fairs, and Tiverton residents get preference, which I think is only fair. Tiverton's got to deal with the headaches. Let Tiverton residents get preference. So, town residents voted a year ago to roll the dice with Twin Rivers, and now this is getting. So some of them could be rolling dice for the casino company soon. Twin River will hold a series of job fairs to staff the casino and hotel it expects to open on William S. Canning Boulevard in October of next year. The first two will be for town residents only. They are set for Saturday, December 9th from 10 to 2 and Thursday, February 1st from 4 to 8. All the job fairs will be held at the company's construction office at 15 William S. Canning Boulevard, just over the town line with Fall River. A job fair for Quinnick Island residents will be held on Saturday, February 17th from 10 to 2. Open job fairs will be held on April 5th from 4 to 8 and April 21st from 10 to 2. Some of those hired won't have to wait until the Tiverton Casino opens, according to Patty Doyle, spokesman for the Twin River Management Group. It is quite possible, actually probable, that they will have people who will work for Twin Rivers Lincoln first to get training and experience before going on in Tiverton.
Amazing, isn't it? They can do what we've been told for how many years we can't do.
Exactly.
We cannot do this in Fall River because it's illegal. Guess what? Here's another quote. This was part of our conversation with town during the campaign. Doyle said, quote, we made that commitment and we will honor it, unquote. And then the best one at the end of this article. Our Tiverton workforce will total 550 to 600 employees, and we're determined to fulfill a campaign pledge to the local community by recruiting Tiverton residents whenever and wherever it possible. And this is amazing. And to piggyback that, Governor Raimondo was on TV again last night talking about a company in Providence who had created 300 jobs, and then they wanted another incentive, and she said, no, you made a commitment to create more jobs, and when you create those jobs, we'll give you that second incentive. And right after that, they said, well, they've decided to buy 2 more floors of that building and create 400 more jobs. It works. It works. But it doesn't work in Fall River because nothing works in Fall River because they don't want it to work. You know, and they lie to you. They lie to you, just like with the retirement yesterday. They want to skim more money from the retirement fund. The actuarial's too low. Well, guess what? I guess every city councilor forgot when I went there about a year ago and told them what happened the last time they tried this move to try to overestimate what you're going to get in and not be conservative. What happened was between the year 2002 and 2012, in that 10-year period, we put in 89 million, almost $90 million less than New Bedford. And our retirement unfunded liability, we went from 80% funded down to 40% funded. Let me explain something to a few people who couldn't follow that argument. This is what it's like. It's like taking a choice between having an IRA with a conservative portfolio which guarantees you a regular but pretty well guaranteed profit to build up your retirement, or playing the stock market. You may get lucky playing the stock market. You may have millions when you retire. But then again, you could be sitting on a corner with a cup in your hand when you retire. Because
they'll fit in Fall River.
But just remember one thing. We already know this doesn't work. But they want to do it again because they need more money, because they never have enough money. In spite of the tax increase, in spite of the tax factor cost shift, in spite of the money increase for the water bill, they still are figuring out ways to get more money to spend. And guess what? There's two perspectives here. One is the city wants money. The retirement board has a fiduciary responsibility to protect the system, because you know what happens if they're wrong? There's no consequences for the city. That's why they're proposing this. They get the money, the retirement system tanks, and guess what happens? The people who had no part in this, the retirees, get their pension benefits cut. And that's not, maybe not before I'm gone, but a lot of these active employees would be facing a system that you have to cut benefits in order for it to sustain it. Because guess what? Their thing is about getting money. When you're elected to the retirement board or appointed to the retirement board, you have a legal fiduciary responsibility to do what's best to keep that system solvent for the retirees. And speculating on interest has already proven in this city that we virtually tanked the system in a decade. We went from one of the best funded to one of the worst funded. Not going to happen, because guess what? Any retirement board member that votes for this is subject to lawsuit, because the law requires them to be loyal to the retirement system, not to finding money for the city to spend.
Well, it was very interesting to hear, that nobody from the retirement board could come.
Well, I made a call. Christine Tetrault, the executive director, did confirm that she got an email on Monday to appear Tuesday. And obviously, she couldn't appear. She had to email him back and say, I have a previous commitment. I mean, but this is Fall River. It's like at 4 o'clock the day before you're supposed to be there. You think maybe that, they knew they were going to talk about this and they did it intentionally? Well, she also told them they would be available and we would be available, because I told her I definitely want to go to that meeting.
Yep, I hear you. Well, we're almost out of time, but prostitution bill will legalize sex work in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But if you're a John, it's illegal to pay a prostitute. So they're going to make it legal for them to be prostitutes, but if you pay for one, you're going to go to jail.
It's legal to be a prostitute, but nobody can use you.
That's right.
So you're out of business. We put you out of... But the other thing is, there's only one other way. If you see a prostitute then refuse to pay her, they can't prosecute you, right? You didn't pay her, so that's it. It's legal.
Only in Massachusetts,
Exactly. Only in Massachusetts.
But, we've got a lot to look forward to with the coming year. We have another month left to go. We have one more City Clowncil meeting. And everything yesterday was a veto night. Veto, 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 leave to withdraw, leave to withdraw, leave to withdraw. Everything after what felt like a 2-hour diatribe about the high school and moving it down to Rodman Street and even skiing to high school. I got to call Dr. Malone and tell him I want to set up a ski rental place on the side of the new high school.
Maybe we can eliminate all the school bus contracts and give them snowshoes.
There you go.
To walk to school. What the hell? We'll save a lot of money that way.
I'm telling you, it's getting to be absolutely phenomenally funny. So, well, there's that lovely sound.
Stay angry, and we will see you on Friday.
Have a great day. We'll see you Friday.